Black Ops 1 was one of the first games I ever played as a kid, and it was one of the most captivating experiences of mankind. It being also the firstborn child after World at War made this game an absolute nightmare when it comes to veteran difficulty. So the first barrel's relatively... Today, we're seeing if it's possible to beat Black Ops 1 without taking no damage. No damage is the first rule, as you guys should already know. If we take damage, we have to restart to the nearest checkpoint. Only this game, there is no checkpoints, so I had to use a command in order to get to the last checkpoint, so we were all good. The next rule is obviously the veteran difficulty, as you guys know. I hope you guys are ready for this video, because this video is absolutely naughty. Without further ado, let's get into it. The mission begins with the boys and planning a plot to assassinate Fidel Castro. We just about wrapped up planning when the Cuban military decided to break our reunion up, and we decided to teach them a lesson. So after absolutely bullying these fellas, we got ourselves prepared to run through the street. If you guys haven't played this mission already, first part of this mission is very easy. You just shoot through the streets in order to get to the car. However, when I ran down that alleyway, I got shot. So I turned around to see who shot me, and there was absolutely no one in sight. So I restarted the checkpoint to see who shot at me, and to nobody's surprise, there was an invisible gun shooting at me the whole time. So after claiming that as canonical damage, we got in the car and absolutely rammed through the Cuban police force like it was nothing, which brings us onto Operation 40. Tonight was the night we raided Fidel Castro's compound. Getting into Fidel's compound was a walkthrough, but as soon as we get inside the main area, things really started to get out of hand.
Oh, what? Whoa! Search room to room till we find Castro. Got it? We search room to room till we find Castro.
Oh, what? That guy back there just... Oh. What? Bro, I haven't even turned the corner. I'm getting hit. And after a few more brilliant deaths later, we finally got to Castro's room and took him out. Which then, it was finally time to get the hell out of here. That was like the quickest thing I've ever seen. Oh, God, the screen shape. Checkpoint reached. We're safe. Okay, I'm mad. So after realizing there was no way of me actually being able to shoot them without taking damage, I just waited for Carlos to arrive to blow everyone up. And then we moved on to the hangar. We ran through the airport while taking a little bit of damage, but I deeming that as canonical. Then we got onto the plane, but the problem was we couldn't take off because the AA cannons were going to shoot us out the sky. So Mason decides to sacrifice himself and take out the rest of the AA cannons so the boys can leave. Then Mason gets absolutely slapped by Kravchenko, and we get sold to the Russians. Which brings us into Vorkuta, deemed as one of the best missions in the game. This mission does not disappoint when it comes to difficulty. We begin with Reznov and the 8-step process of getting out of Vorkuta. We start at the beginning where we take out the guards and we get the keys, which brings us topside. This is where the mission begins. First section of this mission and taking out the MG tower is really easy. All you have to do is stay behind Reznov and Sergey the whole time whilst taking out the rest of the guards on the left and right sides. And then basically we're finished with that step. We had to blow up a few towers ourselves, and then we're back onto the ground floor fighting our way through the prison, where things really start to get out of hand. Oh, shit. Whoa. What just happened? No. What hit me? What hit me? What's hit me? There's no way that guy survived and was shooting bullets at me from the floor. And now it's time to skewer the winged beast. We shot that hook and brought that bird down from the sky. And it was time to move on further to the armory. And after spending about 10 minutes going through that whole bit over and over again, we finally got to the armory, but poor Sergey was gunned down. We cleared out the room and Reznov found the torch to burn through the armory doors. And that's when we came across the first Juggernaut. Oh, you are joking. I swear they take like 2 mags before dying. I swear to you, they take 2 mags. There you go, there's one. To his tomb. Come on! What? Oh! No! What? Yeah, go on. Quick with it. Oh, please, 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 no! No! Yes! Yes! And after finally finding our way through that dilemma, we got the minigun. And honestly, this is where the worst part of the mission happened. Oh. What? What? Oh. And after blindly raging for about another 15 minutes, we finally got through that part and we were knocked out from the tear gas until we woke up and Reznov saved us from certain death. And after that, we move on to one of the most badass action sequences of Call of Duty history. And after deeming this whole section as canonical damage, we have to leave Reznov behind, and poor Reznov is left to die. Mason returns back to America, and to skip this whole mission, we speak to the president. I speak about killing Dragovich, and it's on to executive order. We're back in the field with the boys once once again. Only this time, we're here to destroy the Russian test missile site until we find out that Weaver has been caught. So now our priority mission is saving Weaver first and destroying the test site. The first section is just a bit of a walkthrough, grabbing a disguise and running inside of the building. We took out everybody in the comms building with ease. Then we helped Bowman get closer so we could go and save Weaver. After we finally met up, it was time to stop the missile.
What? Oh, come on, bro. Oh, bro. What? Yo. Oh my god. I swear to god, this
And
game.
after dying a few more times, we got to the missile control room and everybody in there was dead. And the rocket was about to launch. And that's when we shot a Valkyrie into the air to stop it.
Nope. What? Nope. No.
And with that trolling out the way, the missile was finally taken down. It was time to get out of here, so we went underground to find a way out. And this is where things got very difficult.
No! How's he not dead? How's he not dead from me? Really, it is. This type of shit is not for the faint-hearted, I'll tell you. Okay, he's still alive. No? Oh, now he's dead. Oh. That just bounced off that guy's Achilles.
To not drag this on more than it needs to, I took damage another 40 times in this section, and I thought the run was going to be over. But as I luckily got past that bit, this hallway spawns an infinite amount of soldiers unless you move up. So you have to kill the soldiers and move up before they respawn back in, and you have to keep doing that little by little, and luckily we got past this section with ease. The last bit of this mission was a little bit of a challenge, but we did get through, and the mission was finished. We move on to Vietnam, baby, and now we reunite with the boys again in Vietnam. Only this time we were sent to push back the Viet Cong, and as we were about to make it to the front lines, we get abruptly stopped by a mortar. And like everything in this world, it all turns to shit. We make our way through the bunker towards the trenches, and this is where the mission begins. The beginning of this mission is actually really easy. It's a good way to start the Vietnam mission. We only restarted a few times, but honestly not anything too crazy. And until Woods gave us the C4 charges, it became impossible for me to not take any damage if I wasn't following Woods. So when I restarted, and we actually managed to get through this entire section without taking any damage. And after destroying a few tanks and restarting a couple times, we got onto the worst section of the mission.
See? Dead straight away. Go, go, go. He says go, go, go with pride, and I end up dying.
Oh, brother. Holy shit. I couldn't even move a second.
Right, we're clear on this side. Oh! Okay. I shot that guy many times. I swear to God, I swear I shot him. Okay, we're inside here now. Okay.
Oh, they're spawned in.
Oh!
We finally completed the section of the mission. If you guys have tried this yourself, you'll know how hard it is. The rest of the mission was actually really easy. We went up the hill and pushed back the MVA once more. A vehicle sequence happens where we blow up another 6 tanks, and the mission was complete. Which brings us on to the defector. The boys and I decided to go in via helicopter, and ironically, as we rappel in, the helicopter gets blown up. So as we steadily survive that, we get put into a building. This is where the mission begins. Now, this mission is actually one of the easier ones I played. Throughout this entire building section, I think I restarted more times from actually shooting a civilian than I actually did taking damage. This whole section of the building is actually fairly easy to get through. So as we reach the end of the building to find the defector, Reznov comes back and joins the crew and I to fight through Hue City. This section of the mission is really easy as well. You can literally just use the helicopter to mow through the entirety of Hue City. And as we push through the streets, a tank was almost about to kill us. And before it did, it blew the car right into our direction, which brought us conveniently under the anti-air unit. And as the anti-air was gone, we were able to get to the rally point. Now, the rally point had us defending for a certain amount of time, but honestly, I just hit the whole time. And then once the boat came, we ran and jumped towards it with us and the boys, and we were safe and sound. Which brings us onto the numbers. We find out the whereabouts of Daniel Clark, and after giving him a couple of smacks, he tells us what exactly the weapon that the Russians are dealing with. And as the Russians never like to play nice, they came as quick as they could. And as Nova 6 started spreading all over the shop, we were out of there. I played this mission so many times on my own time that I really know the spawns of all the enemies. The rooftop was a little bit of a challenge, but honestly, nothing to be complaining about. We jump off the rooftop like an action movie, stood onto the middle floor, which is where things started to get a little bit more harder.
I forgot about the guy on the right. What? Who fucking shot me there? I was literally behind cover. Where am I getting shot from? What the fuck? There's a guy right here. Just
I was stuck on that section for a good 30 minutes until finally we broke through and I got through that area. As we fell and dropped down for that rooftop, we were on another rooftop. I didn't want to keep restarting this rooftop section over and over again, so I found a way to get through it by just running past everybody. The only problem with that is that as I was progressing forward, they were chasing after me.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
After finding that out, it was a speed run to the next checkpoint, which after about 10 minutes of constantly going back and forwards, we finally broke through. Now, this defense section was actually one of the easiest parts of the mission, which required me to camp a doorway, which was pretty self-explanatory. As we were escaping, Dr. Clark slips and almost falls. We catch him, but before he could tell us where the number station was, he got killed, which left us fighting our way through the rooftops down to the ground floor. There's a lot of big jumps in this section, which require you to take canonical damage. So after making it to the bottom floor, another ridiculous shootout section, which requires you to have really good accuracy in order to not take damage, the mission finally ended. Which brings us on to Project Nova. Reznov has given us a nice little chat from back in his heydays, and we reminisce back to the early 1940s. The mission starts with Reznov and the boys getting transported to the final German front line, where this mission begins. The first leg of this mission isn't that difficult, with only a few restarts needed, to be honest, for myself, until you get to the second leg where you have to use the mortar strikes to get rid of the MG bridge. This is where things start to get really challenging.
What? No!
I'm running.
Missed again. See, look, I'm getting stuck. You see him lock onto me then. Where am I getting shot from? See, I'm getting stuck.
This went on for another 20 minutes until finally we actually made some progress. And as we continue fighting, we finally got to Steiner. We rendezvous back with Dragovich and Kravchenko, and we come across the German boat harvesting the first rendition of Nova 6. As we investigate further, we find exactly what we were looking for. Dragovich decided to use Reznov and the boys as a test subject for Nova 6. Poor Reznov sits there helpless as he watches his own men die. But as soon as Reznov thought it was over, the British come and save the day. And as the British were fighting the Russians, we managed to find an escape route to get the hell out of here. This part took a good 10 minutes of constantly retrying and retrying until finally I managed to get past a nasty aimbot. And as Reznov puts a bomb on the ship, the rest of the mission is just running as fast as we can to get off the ship as quick as possible. And finally, we made it out of there. We move on to Victor Charlie. Our helicopters crashed and we're in the middle of a Viet Cong jungle. And as we struggle to get out, Reznov saves the day once again. Me and Woods slay through all the Viet Cong. We move further up into the forest. We rendezvous back with the boys and we fight our way through the village. This entire mission was one of the easiest missions in the game. Not to mention it is one of the quickest ones. We blasted our way through the village, destroying the anti-air unit and shot through the last forces in the village until we found a manhole, in which I voluntarily went down there to see what the hell was going on. And after exploring the manhole, we find Kravchenko's hideout. We grabbed as much intel as we could and the place was wired to blow. We got out of there as quick as we could and we reunited with the boys, which brings us on to Crash Site. The first half of this mission is spent in a boat, and as you guys already know already, there's no way of not taking damage in a boat, so the vehicle sections are canonical damage. We were embracing the absolute beautiful Vietnam era music, as well as blasting the Viet Cong out of the waters. The second half of this mission consists of us going to the crash site, where the Nova 6 is apparently stored. It only took us a few attempts to actually get to the crash site, but honestly, this mission was another easy one. We got up to the crash site and we found out the Russians took everything before we could even get a hand on it. And just as we were about to get out of there, the Russians show up out of nowhere, and we do our best to try and take out as many as possible, but unfortunately the plane falls apart and we go down with it, and there goes Dragovich and Kravchenko standing there as we get captured once more. This mission is WMD. We start the mission in a CR-71 Blackbird overlooking Hudson and his team. To skip past most of the irrelevant parts of this mission, Hudson and Weaver stealthily make their way through the Ural Mountains to the science center, and as we shred through all the Russians with ease, we found some very valuable intel, but not Steiner. And as we leave, an avalanche happens out of nowhere. We get the hell out of there before we even have a chance to get swallowed up, and we make our way to the bottom of the mountain. And as I mowed down all the easy reinforcements, we came across an MG that forced you to take damage, so we deem that as canonical. And as we investigate this factory further, we find lots of juicy intel about the sleeper cells in America. Steiner tells us on the intercom exactly where to find him because he's seeking asylum. And as we rush to get out of there before the place gets blown up, as you see, we took a little bit of damage when hopping on the vehicle, but there's nothing I can do. We're in the middle of an animation. We hop on the vehicle and we get the hell out of there. We move on to the mission Payback. We are captured by the Vietnamese and the Russians, and we're forced to play a game of Russian roulette. And after Paul Bowman gets slayed because he's sick and tired of this bullshit, me and Woods are the final two survivors left. And in desperation, we make a very quick plan to absolutely shred everybody in here. And after our plan successfully takes place, we find ourselves armed and ready to escape. This mission took a whole new level of difficulty compared to its last counterparts. This first section took me so much time to get through, with the aimbot being so criminal. If I even moved a singular inch or even behind cover, they still had the chance to hit me. A whole 20 minutes goes by of constant trial and error, and finally we hit a breakthrough. We shoot that cocksucker down, and it's finally time to make an escape.
You see that hind? We're gonna take it.
See that hind? We're gonna fucking take it.
Nope.
And after ruining such a great moment, we finally got inside the hind, and this is where another canonical damage sequence happens. We absolutely shredded through the helicopters and all the Viet Cong in the jungles, and we finally got towards Kravchenko's little hideout.
Fuck, who's gonna make it pay? I didn't even have to press restart or anything. I just fucking die. Bruh, what the hell? Seriously?
This went on for another 20 plus minutes, and I couldn't even get past this one section without getting absolutely lasered. And after finally figuring out a very genius way of just using my grenade launchers and grenades, we got past the entrance to the cave section where we came across Reznov and the boys who got captured. Then we fought our way through the inner sanctum of the cave to get to Kravchenko.
What? Wait, who shot me?
And after breaking down for about 10 minutes because this part was so unbearable, we finally got past it, and we were in hand-to-hand combat with Kravchenko. And as per plots go, we get battered. Woods comes to save the day, and somehow they don't get blown up, even though there's grenades strapped to Kravchenko's chest. And that is the end of the mission. We move on to Rebirth, the second to last mission in the game, and one of the most brutal when it comes to difficulty. We start with a nice little stealth section, and this is where things really started to get very stressful in the run. Me and Reznov made our way to the lab, where I started to consider ripping my own hair out with how many times it took me to actually get through this part.
Oh, you asshole.
Oh, bro. And after a good 20 minutes of going through excruciating pain, we finally get to kill Steiner. And before you think the mission's finished, no, it's not. We play as Hudson in the APC unit, storming Rebirth Island, and this section of the mission is so annoying.
Grab some cover, he's saying, when I'm on the top of a fucking truck. Oh, here we go. What is the velocity on these grenades? Jesus. What is the fucking good? What good are use of these fucking cunts on the ground? What good are use of they? Oh my god. Oh my god. You know what it is? It's the aimbot. No! Oh my god. How does one complete this? Bro!
We're not going to talk about how long this section actually took me, but as plots always lead to something getting blown up or us getting blown up and always having to move up on foot, we continued on our journey to secure Steiner. The first section we spent on foot was actually one of the easier sections of the mission. We were able to absolutely ace through it as long as we stuck behind cover, with only 1 to 2 restarts needed. And besides from the lock-on system on this rocket launcher barely even working.
Well, if the target's too close, yeah, I can't lock on. What is that?
We finally made it a lot closer to the lab where things got a little bit more harder.
Oh, bro. Bro, why is he there? Oh my god, man. Oh, forgot about that guy. Oh my god, who shot me? Get out of it, Weaver. Get out of it. Weaver, you need to get us stuck, bro.
And after experiencing that freaky moment, we repeated the same science lab once more, but we didn't have enough time to save Steiner, and Mason killed him, which leads us on to the final mission. And after finding out the truth about Reznov not actually being there the whole time, and Mason finally remembering where the broadcast station is in Cuba, we were on our way. We start the mission off in a helicopter, which obviously we take canonical damage here, and after getting blown up and somehow still making it onto the ship, the mission finally begins. The topside section of the ship was actually not even that difficult, and after taking out a couple of helicopters and just the usual mowing down of enemies, we got inside the ship where things started to take a dramatic turn. We spent a whole 15 minutes of constant restarting in this one section to actually just get through it. This is more worse than 10 minutes of Brain Rot 6-7 memes. And as we finally claimed victory, our victory was short-lived when we found out that the Numbers broadcast station was actually underwater. So as the rest of the team goes up to get reinforcements, me and Hudson and the rest of the squad go down to end Dragovich once and for all. Now this first section of the underwater sequence was actually a little bit difficult, but honestly only a few restarts were needed in order to get through this section. Until we got up closer to the broadcast station, there were bloodthirsty juggernauts.
Oh. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's a juggernaut. What the fuck is a juggernaut doing down here? Now he's fucking dead. No, not another one of you. Right, that's it.
We were finally at the finish line. The only thing in our way was Dragovich. And as we strangled him to death in the water, the sheet of victory finally covered me. And it was the end of the game. So can you beat Black Ops 1 without taking no damage? Of course you can. As long as you count the canonical sections, which are in vehicles, it's completely possible. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.